When I record from bed, I have to be super comfy. I thought do have a stain on my shirt. Shit. Well, I don't match anyway, so welcome to bedtime for Tiff. Anyway, let's make ourselves comfortable. I recorded. I have to fix this. I'm sorry. I recorded a little short episode during my lunch break today, and that was fun. But then throughout the day, I realized that I really need to touch back on the Nikki Chang Lee McCain case because we started following her and we've got to see it through. I'm eagerly awaiting this trial. I hope this trial doesn't intersect with any of the other trials that I'm waiting to see. I hate being only one person and not having clones. That would be really great. Do you guys feel like that? I know you do. Anyway, Tyler McCain has had 4 days now of preliminary hearings, right, to determine if and how this case will move forward. So, as we know, Tyler McCain, this guy, you're welcome for that. He's a piece of shit, allegedly, is accused of murdering his wife, Nikki Chang Lee McCain, right? In May of 2024, right? This case has drawn significant public attention. It represents Shasta County, California's first ever no-body homicide. Let's remember that. And despite the absence of Nikki Chang Lee McCain's body, the Shasta County District Attorney's Office has obviously pursued murder charges anyway, alleging that Tyler killed her to prevent her from testifying in an ongoing domestic violence case. Okay, a preliminary hearing started now, September 2025, to determine whether there was sufficient probable cause to bind him over for trial. Okay, so again, we have Nikki Chang Lee last seen May 18th, maybe May 17th, 2024. 5 days later, family officially reported her missing. May 25th, her blue Chevy Avalanche was discovered abandoned on Bowman Road near Highway 36, close to the border between Shasta and Tehama County. Not Tehama. Tehama. Maybe Tehama. Tehama sounds more fun, so we're gonna go with that one. So again, just a quick recap. Upon approaching Nikki's vehicle, the deputy reported a pungent odor emanating from the covered truck bed, described by multiple investigators as consistent with the smell of human decomposition. Bro, what? Plugged in. Technical difficulties. Anyway, this discovery transformed, obviously, this missing person's case into a homicide investigation, even in the absence of a body, which Nikki still has not been recovered to this day. So, I mean, I have OCD and I can't keep going. I have to give the recap. Skip forward if you already know all the details about the case, right? But investigators accessed the truck bed. There was a white sheet saturated with blood. There was dried blood spatter along the interior, and there were strands of dark hair found in the avalanche. So a forensic analysis obviously confirmed that the blood, the decomposition fluids, and the hair all matched Nikki McCain. So then the truck was placed on a lift and investigators observed blood that had pooled on like the fuel tank and had begun to drip down. And so this indicated a sensational loss of blood here, right? Far beyond like some minor injury that any fuckhead could come up with an excuse like, oh, she had a nosebleed. No, she didn't, sir. No, she didn't. And suggested he didn't say that. I'm just saying, like, they definitely made sure that nobody could say it was some like minor injury that occurred in this truck, right? It suggested the body had remained in the truck long enough for fluids to accumulate and coagulate and start dripping down. They searched the home in Happy Valley, in an attached garage of the home. They applied a luminol-like substance detected or designed to detect trace amounts of blood. And the garage floor was just like fluoresced. I don't know if fluoresced is a word, but it was fluoresced intensely under these UV lights, which obviously indicates the presence of blood or biological fluids that are consistent with a decomposing human body. And it points to the fact, right, that a violent event occurred in the home prior to, I'm handsy today, the body being moved to the truck. Okay, so motive obviously is that Nikki was the key witness in a felony domestic violence case against Tyler stemming from an incident in December of 2023. And according to law enforcement reports, she was reportedly beaten for 3 hours, bound with tape, and feared that she stated that she feared she would be killed during this attack, but she did manage to escape this attack with injuries. And so this case was pending trial when Nikki disappeared in May of 2024, right? So prosecution obviously is alleging that Tyler killed Nikki in order to prevent her from testifying in this domestic violence case, severe domestic violence case. And to support this, they presented a lot of evidence of the handwritten note in the home that reads, "I told everyone what you did. Everyone encouraged me to turn you in." Prosecutors are asserting that this note likely refers to Nikki's planned testimony and underscores Tyler's motive to silence her. And along with all of that, as if that's not enough, investigators also discovered Nikki's partially burned driver's license inside of Tyler's wallet in like his back pocket during roadside traffic. Whoop whoop. Right? Which to them suggested a very deliberate attempt to destroy evidence of her identity. All right. And this act, among others, in this case, was interpreted by investigators as very strong circumstantial evidence of guilt. Yes, Tyler, we see you. Additionally, the home was found to contain ammunition in nearly every room of the house, suggesting an environment that is of heightened fear and control for our victim, Nikki, a factor that prosecutors are using to paint a picture of escalating violence and intimidation. Right. Okay. So I can't go through everything. If you want to go through the rest of the details of the case, you just go watch my deep dive. I'll link it in the outro. It's pretty obvious, allegedly. The evidence against Tyler McCain is quite damning. And so that's where we are. We're in the preliminary hearing, right? Where the judge hears suggested evidence and determines whether, especially in a no body case, right? Because you don't have a body. You can't prove that this person is dead. Well, here's the evidence to prove that we can say that Nikki has lost her life and evidence that we feel like can prove that Tyler McCain is the perpetrator here. So throughout this preliminary hearing, we have learned that we have incriminating testimony from relatives. We have Michael Ripley, who is Tyler's brother-in-law. He's testifying that he received a call and was instructed to pick Tyler up near Highway 36, right? Remember in my deep dive when I said that authorities believe that someone picked Tyler up from the scene of dumping Nikki, well, they can't, Nikki hasn't been found, but like this remote area on Highway 36. Yeah, that was this guy, Michael Ripley. He said when he arrived, Tyler explained to him that the avalanche wouldn't start, right? This is where they found Nikki's avalanche. He said the avalanche wouldn't start because he had accidentally put diesel into the gas tank, right? And then even more significant, apparently, was the exchange overheard by Ripley during a phone call with his nephew, Justin Karen. And Karen asked Tyler, "Is there anything in the truck that needs to disappear?" And Tyler said, yes. When Justin Karen then asked, "Does the truck itself need to disappear?" Tyler again responded, yes. These statements obviously suggest an intent to destroy evidence, and they were highlighted by the prosecution last week and this week. I mean, these are like admissions of consciousness of guilt. Destroy the evidence. I don't want to be I don't want to be tied to this. During the, I think, third day of the preliminary hearing held on September 10th, 2025, Tyler McCain actually had an emotional outburst, poor little baby, and he declared, "This is bullshit." That's what he said. "This is bullshit. You being prosecuted for the murder of your wife is bullshit." Right. Sure, Tyler. And he continued on to protest the proceedings. The outburst actually prompted the judge, whose name is Thomas Bender, to pause the hearing so that McCain's defense attorney could counsel him privately and get the little baby under control. Get a little baby, do we need a nap? Do we need to eat? Okay. Are we okay now? Let's continue. Such behavior, in my opinion, in the context of very high stakes legal criminal proceedings, it's quite often interpreted as a sign of very high stress and a loss of composure under scrutiny. So I can't wait to see him during trial if he doesn't fucking plead guilty before then. So the prosecution also secures testimony in this hearing from someone that Nikki is alleged to be in a relationship with, Luis Barros, who confirmed that Nikki was planning to divorce Tyler and had confided in him about the abuse that she was suffering at his hands. He also stated that Nikki once arrived at his home with visible injuries and stated that Tyler was responsible for those injuries. Justin Karen, who we spoke about previously, that Tyler was apparently on the phone, does the evidence need to disappear? Justin is a resident of a trailer on the couple's property, and he also testified under immunity. He denied involvement in Nikki's disappearance, but confirmed seeing her alive on the morning of May 18th, 2024. And this testimony completely undermines any assertion that she had already left the home before that time. So, retired Madera County Superior Court Judge Thomas L. Bender was assigned to oversee the preliminary hearing in Redding, California. And his role was simply to determine whether the prosecution had established sufficient probable cause for the case to proceed to trial, right? A lower threshold than guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, right? He's not finding anyone guilty. He's just saying, there's a lot of evidence here. Even though we don't have a body, it all seems pretty connected. And I think we can move forward with this prosecution. Judge Bender consistently upheld transparency throughout the preliminary hearings, denied the defense's motion to close the proceedings to the public, which means we will get a trial aired publicly. And he also denied the prosecution's request to disqualify Tyler's defense attorney, whose name is Michael Borges, citing insufficient evidence. The final determination occurred, I think, today, right? So based on overwhelming circumstantial evidence, including forensic traces of blood and decomposition, a very clear motive, in the court's opinion, incriminating statements based on witness testimony, and physical evidence like the fucking burned license in Tyler's back pocket, Judge Thomas Bender ruled that there was sufficient probable cause to hold Tyler Scott McCain over for trial. So also, I wasn't able to watch the preliminary hearing. So of course I was just watching clips from Court TV, Law and Crime. Also my girl, Amanda Warner over at True Crime with Amanda Warner. She has been a supporter from my channel from day one. And I got some updates from her video today. She actually posted a video. She's been following this case really closely as well. And so if you guys want, I think she's got a lot more details. She researched this one really well. So if you want a few more details than what I was able to get just in my quick research this afternoon, head over to her channel, True Crime with Amanda Warner, and she'll fill you in on all the deets. But when we're talking about the judge's decision today, this does confirm that Tyler is now formally bound to stand trial for the murder of his wife. And let's say her name again and again and again. Nikki Chang Say Lee. I don't even like adding McCain to the end of her name because fuck that guy. Nikki Chang Say Lee. California law permits no body homicide prosecutions when the evidence collectively and strongly establishes the victim's death. So, like, there's a lot of evidence that supports that the victim is no longer alive, hence, like, the amount of blood that they found. And then when evidence can also support what can be proved possibly as the defendant's responsibility. So, the case of Nikki Chang Say Lee really demonstrates that justice can be pursued even when there's no body recovered. The prosecution's strategy relied not on a single smoking gun, like some cases have, but very few, honestly, but on weaving together this very compelling narrative from forensic, behavioral, and circumstantial evidence that collectively tells the story of a murder committed and then concealed. As of today, September 15th, 2025, Tyler Scott McCain is now awaiting trial on charges of murder with special circumstance, right? We talked about that, which is of killing to prevent testimony. That's the special circumstance. And this is a charge that can result in life in prison without parole if convicted. The case continues every single day to unfold with public scrutiny and legal scrutiny that really is going to go a long way in ensuring transparency in this case. So for now, the message is clear. Even in the absence of a body, the weight of evidence can be strong enough to demand your day in court, sir, and you will have it. And Nikki will have her justice. We can all hope. That's my last update for today. I'm going to go to bed. I love you guys so much. And until I see you again, please, please, please stay safe. Keep asking questions and keep unraveling. Love you.